All right. At the request of a few friends and some viewers, I am going to give a more detailed breakdown on the build that I tend to use in most of my videos. This channel's not going to be a build channel. I might show some here or there, but specifically this one that I've been using mostly will be my favorite, you can say. It's not meta by any standards, but it is still pretty powerful. It does take a little bit of getting used to as well, as this is a build that starts off weak, and you have to build up the power by making sure you hit all your strikes and hit all your shots, head shots, leg shots, body shots. As I break this down, you'll be able to understand a little bit more what I mean. Striker is a set that got reworked a few times and is now probably up towards the top, I would say, for gear sets. Fairly simple to farm up. You can get it any targeted loot for strikers. My weapon of choice is the chameleon. It's a augmented vector exotic, but acts like an assault rifle. If you want to get that, you can find it for assault rifle targeted loot, and it also drops more frequently in bounties. So killing bounty bosses will grant you this weapon more often. Um, Firstly, let's go over the specialization. For this particular build, I tend to use the minigun, mainly for the armor on kill that you receive with this and the periodic ammo regeneration. I tend to go through a lot of ammo with this particular gun because of how fast it fires, so any ammo I get is a big bonus. Grenade is up to you. I tend to use the one that comes with the specialization. This one is a foam grenade, which is useful. You can trap enemies in it. You can always use concussion grenades if that doesn't fit your fancy. Now, like I said, Chameleon is the weapon of choice that I like. You pick whatever you want. I just tend to like this one mainly for the talents here, Adaptive Instincts. You can tell by reading it, if you hit 30 headshots, you get crit damage and crit chance. If you hit 75 body shots, you get 90% weapon damage. And 30 leg shots, you get 150% to your reload speed. And the cool thing about that, and what makes this a really good speed running weapon, is that if you're able to clear an area in under the 45 seconds that has a cooldown for those particular skills, the stacks will reset, and you can actually carry that into the next encounter. If you are running fast enough and you're able to clear counters in under 45 seconds, there's a possibility you can get through an entire mission with all of your stacks of adaptive instincts intact, which is something I like to do when they have the league events when they are active during priority targets. And like I said before, assault rifle targeted loot or bounties. Your sidearm and secondary don't really matter. You can really use whatever you want. Some people like to use the ACR shotgun. I think that's what it's called, with the striker set because each shot and each pellet from the shotgun counts as a shot, so you can build up stacks very quickly with the striker set. I'll go into detail about that now. Four-piece striker, as you can tell, natively drops with a red core. I rolled three of them into armor. I tend to like to have a little bit of protection, a little bit of survivability. Um, and with the building of stacks and weapon damage from this set, you can tend to take a little bit more defensive build just to keep yourself from dying out there because you can get killed pretty quickly. I mean, armor doesn't really add up to too much in this game. Um, but yeah, here he is with Striker. We have the two-piece bonus, 15% weapon handling, which is good for the Chameleon. It tends to be very inaccurate at distances, and this tends to tighten up the reticle just a bit. Three-piece bonus, we get 15% fire rate, which is good for building stacks because you want to shoot people as fast as possible. And the big one is the 4-piece, the Striker's Gamble. Weapon hits increase weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. That means if you have a full stack, that is 65% damage. Uh, as long as you're shooting, you don't have to worry about the decay of the stacks. But when you aren't shooting and aren't hitting people, you will be losing it. Now, the backpack I have on actually increases that damage bonus that you get from 0.65 to 1%. So that makes 100% weapon damage on top of the base weapon damage from the Chameleon. Most of my build, you can tell I try to keep a balance of crit damage and crit chance. My currently I'm sitting at 45 or 46.5% crit chance. Now the maximum is 60%, and the adaptive instincts adds 20. So I'm a little overtuned, but you could basically, this is why you can basically run any weapon on this that you want. I just prefer the Chameleon. You can always switch up the mods on your backpack to make sure you keep a good amount of crit chance. You can also wear the Coyote's mask for extra crit chance, because that has a bonus to increase that at certain distances. The chest piece that I'm wearing is the Fenris chest for the assault rifle damage. And as you can see, it's all red, crit chance, weapon damage, all that stuff. My talent, I use Obliterate. Now this is another one that stacks up damage. This one is with crits. That's why you want to have high crit. You can get another 25% damage by hitting 25 crits, which at 60% you can do them fairly regularly, enough to usually stack up a complete stack on a yellow bar enemy. Now match that up with the 100% you get from the strikers, potentially, and the 90% you get on that, and you are well over 200% weapon damage base for the build. Um, so the longer you're fighting, the more you're shooting, the more damage potential you have. So as you can see, the combination of Obliterate, the talents on the Striker's backpack, as well as adaptive instincts on the Chameleon can add to a lot of damage over a small period of time, especially with how fast this thing shoots. Now, the knee pads are the Fox's Prayers named knee pads. Um, it comes with 10% rifle damage, but don't worry about that. The thing that we're focusing on is the 8% damage to target out of cover. Now, this particular damage thing is a multiplicative addition to the damage that you do, as in it is added on to the end after everything is stacked up. And considering the plus 200 plus damage that we've added with all of our bonuses, an extra 8% at the end of that is a lot of damage, and more than makes up for the loss of a redundant talent such as rifle damage on these particular knee pads. You'll see a lot of builds on the other channels and in game, and this is mostly best in slot, this particular knee pad. And I have it rolled with crit damage and maxed out weapon damage just to balance out the stats on this particular build. Damage to targets out of cover is very, very effective, since a lot of enemies will be out of cover. A lot of things that you'll see on other builds will be the Contractor's Gloves for the 8% damage to armor, but just be aware that that's only towards the armor that enemies are wearing. That doesn't go towards the big minigunners or the warhounds, because that is technically damage to health, whereas damage to target out of cover will attack armor and health at the same time. So it's mutually beneficial, and it's very effective. I tend to use the shield on this build because I like to run up close, and if I need to, I can pull this out and back up to cover if I need to put in an armor kit or just get out of the blast radius of something. The shield gives you that enough time to back out and save yourself. I'm using right now the Gunner's Banshee Pulse for the event that is going on right now, because it stuns them in place, lets you take out the Guardian for the Guardian event. But really, you can put whatever you want here. If you want to use seeker mines to blow people out of cover, if you want to use jammer pulse, if you're fighting the Black Tusk and you want to take out their warhounds, it's really up to you what you want to do. Um, I tend to change it depending on the circumstances of the mission I'm using. Sometimes I'll use a fixer drone if I feel like I'm taking too much damage or I'm just not playing that well today. You can use it, throw a decoy out to have enemies shoot at that instead of shooting at you. Um, if you find that you're, I don't know, if you're dying too much, you can always give yourself a reviver hive. Those things are very useful. They're fixed now, so um, the ball's really in your park or in your court on that. Just put in whatever you want. Um, Hopefully, this breakdown clue you into just the nature of this particular build, why I find it so fun.